This is where he is, Qianlong, for here that. It was known as the Chinese Potato King. Qianlong, born in 1906, was one of the most successful farmers in the Sacramento St. Joaquin Delta area. Qianlong arrived in the United States as a teenager and made a fortune until the alien land laws forced him to sell his land in 1920s. But was in Chinese one for it. You know that if you ever want to speak Chinese in the MOCA Museum, but it's like that, you know. Here it is, John Charlie Chinaman. It was in 19th century. It is just John and Charlie Chinaman, but Charlie and Chinaman. Here he is, John and Charlie Chinaman. Also, here was one that Dr. Fei Sai So Long. It was that she's graduating from the College of Physicians and Surgeons in San Francisco in 1905. Fei So Long, born 1880, became the first Chinese woman dentist in America and only female member of San Francisco Chinese Dental Club. There's a one. Also, there's Feng Zhou Guan. That's that. Also known as Feng Wu. It was in 1909. Also is Tom Gunn. That he born in 1890. Was in the first Chinese American to earn a U.S. Palat license. This is Tom Gunn. Here is one guy, Joseph L. Pierce. Where we have this one, I'll give you closer. This is he is Liu Jingong. That's him. He's 1888. That he was born in 1858. Developed in orange that was both sweet and frost resistant in the land Florida. The variety, now known as Valencia, was awarded the Civil Wilder Medal by the American Polygraphist Society in 1911. I'm going to give you this one. I'm going to give you the rest of those one for it. Here it is. Just yep, that's good one. This is the he was man. This is where it goes. It is you can see the design soup plate custom made in China for New York State Governor DeWitt Clinton. It was the courtesy of the New York Historical Society. This is what it is. That's in Chinese one. Go east, go west. My dad was moving to Guangdong because of that. But anyway, this is what it is. Blue underglaze Canton porcelain beer stand. That's in Guangdong. And a teapot with guided berry knob. It's like this. So as usually, my dad went to Guangzhou, and this is the history we went in China. One of the most historicals of the great. Here's what we got here: the Great American Tea Company. Also got here Pride of China. For DH Hoteling and Company, with the importer of teas, 39 Broadway, NY. Here's one, we got more of that. Also got here, this is what it is, American Progress. For this one, yeah. If you I could also use to speak in 普通话. That's in the Mandarin.
Chinese minor scales, ukulele, gold.
That's the Chinese Revolution.
Do you know anything about manifestos?
Here's one now. In this one here, Canadian Pacific Ocean Services Limited, Pacific Service.
They came to the East Coast, and then as America was developing, they moved from the east to the west.
Oh, wow.
In search of gold.
Moved to the east to the west.
And that this is their
That's in the points.
But in the end, a lot of the Chinese immigrants were the ones who were doing the hard work.
Oh.
Here it is. We get. This is why we talk about this. And you know this, whenever you use it in Nanjing, Hunan, what else we got here? Shanghai, Shenzhen, and what's this one? Is this one here? Chinese minor scales used for weighting gold. You came here for courtesy of Iowa State Historical Society. Here should look like this one. Here's one. That's, it comes from the 18th or 19th to 20th century. Here's the book about throw water on these shaving. Is there any insurance? The policy ran out last week. Will we work? I got Chinese. What do you say about it? Who says about it?
Yeah, it's a lot about how Chinese immigrants were.
If we like come to 10 in a street at 7:30 Monday evening and express your option on the Chinese question.
Yeah, and so this is a sign for xenophobia for people who were anti-Chinese during this period. And in 1892, in the late 1800s.
July 23rd, 1892. A poster advising a meeting to remove the Chinese from the city of Tacoma, Washington. Washington State Historical Society, Tacoma.
They exploit their labor, and when they started to organize, then American citizens began to become dismissive. The Chinese question turned into a violent movement. Burnings, expulsions, and lynchings were common. In 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Chester A. Arthur. This was the first time a whole people were barred as a race from entering America. The law left loopholes for merchants, students, and diplomats. Good Chinamen deemed worthy to enter, but honest peasants, considered the backbone of Chinese society, were treated as dangerous rats threatening the virtuous republic. In resistance, the Chinese American community rarely used the American court system to challenge each injustice. Such human rights cases continue to be cited in American constitutional law, so they really paved the way for what's even going on now, right?
That's the
when
Chinese
it comes
question.
to like DACA and all the dreamers who were welcomed into our country, and what Trump is trying to do when it comes to barring them and excluding them. So the Chinese Americans of the U.S. before set a really strong precedent by fighting for their right to be here.
And fake news.
Yeah, it's really important, exactly.
That was President Chester A. Arthur says.
Yeah.
This is the Chinese are a source of danger to American civilization. Brief for debate on current political, economic, and social topics in 1908.
Back then they had no car. Back then they had no car.
This is the Angel Islands are right behind. I'm going to show you the Chinese symbols.
Yes, I know.
Weird.
It is weird.
Here's where it is, this one.
Gather together to say no to a group. Absolutely. It's not normal.
And there's one another right over here. I will give you a closer look. That's in Chinese. Like writing in Chinese traditions, even simplified.
And the Those who were exempted from exclusion, permitted to enter, had to carry identification papers, and had no freedom to come and go as they wished. They could settle and have families. The law drew a new color line across America's democracy. Aliens ineligible for citizenship. Excluded laborers were sentenced to a life of separation from their families in China. Their wives could not enter. In addition, anti-miscegenation laws, which essentially means that if you are two people from different races or from different groups, you couldn't get married. Made interracial marriage illegal. Together, these laws created a bachelor society. The Chinese-American family continued to be a rare sight in America until the 1960s. That's a really long time.
Ah, yes.
Because the Chinese Exclusion Act was back in the 1800s, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's over a century.
A long time.
It's a long time.
Remember those hats? Here is what it is for. Hats for infants knitted by Louis Xi, courtesy of the Wang family MOCA collection.
I haven't been there, but I believe you.
Louis Xi, it was in 1920 for this hat. Well, I show you these wagons are what we call this one manufactured. What we call this, it is the laundry press early 1900s. This press or box mango was used by a Chinese-owned laundry business to smooth out large piece of clothing, and alternatively to the laborers' ironing process, as seen in the advertisement below. Randall's, the company that created, catered specifically to Chinese merchants. Advisement from the Chinese Students Monthly, Volume 16, June 1921. It should look like this one. Manufactured.
Newspaper, not an old newspaper.